Okay, we have taken a complete job order. Now all we have to do is fill it. We fill it by recruiting. Recruiting is hard. If it was easy, they do it themselves. As a matter of fact, the easy ones, they do themselves. They do it by advertising, by internal referral, by walk-in. We get the tough ones, the ones they can't fill themselves. That's why you earn so much money. Now, when you are recruiting, I want you to follow this format. Number one, make a recruiting plan. Number two, do a file search, matchups. Number three, name gathering, otherwise known as digging, fishing, sourcing. Number four, contact and profile the candidates. Number five, here's a formula. 75 candidate conversations over 3 days and 3 nights equals 1 completed search. That's executive level office support. It would be 25 candidate conversations over 1 day and 1 night equals 1 completed search. Number six, both executive level and office support, your goal on each search is 3 send-outs. And number seven, you want to work 10 searches a month, executive level, and 20 searches a month, office support. Now, let's go back to step number 5 and 6 for a second. 75 candidate conversations over 3 days and 3 nights equals 1 completed search, and your goal on each search is 3 send-outs. That can be reworded as follows. You want to work that search for 75 candidate conversations or 3 send-outs, whichever comes first. If you get 3 send-outs in the first 10 candidate conversations, then stop. Move on to the next search. But if you get to 75 candidate conversations and you've only come up with 1 candidate, or you've come up with no candidates, move on to the next search. You see, the point here is don't marry the search assignment. Don't spend 2 or 3 weeks working on 1 assignment. The way to make a lot of placements is to rotate your activity. Work many searches. Work at least 10 searches in 1 month, and you will make more placements. Now, let's get back to step number 1. Start talking about it. Make a recruiting plan. Ask yourself, what is the background of the ideal candidate? Education, experience, required, preferred. What industries would he be working in? What companies would he be working in? What departments and what titles? And how do we know the answers to those questions? They are on the job order. They are on the job order. If you've taken a complete job order, it begins to do the work for you right now. It begins to conduct the search. So you answer that questions and then let it lead you to the right category of your own files, which brings us to step number 2. File search, matchups. Pull out the category of files that would contain this candidate, put it on your desk. This is not a taxing exercise. I'm going to fly through this. You put the job order here, you put the resumes over here, and you flip those resumes, looking for resumes that contain the same words as the job order. This is not tough. You're looking for anybody who's right, or anybody who's too light or too heavy, or maybe someone who's not right at all, but they work with somebody who would be right. And you're going to call all of these people and you're going to say, hi, my name is Tony Byrne, I'm a recruiter, here's what I'm looking for, who do you know who can do this job? We're going to ask everybody we talk to, who do you know who can do this job? And I want you to remember that every engineer knows other engineers. Every salesman knows other salesmen. The question is not, do you know someone who can do the job? The question is, will you tell me who you know? But let's say that we have exhausted the files and we have not come up with anybody. It is time for us to move on to the next step of the recruiting format, number 3, which is name gathering, digging, fishing, sourcing. This is identifying candidates for your position who are not in your files. Now this is the most controversial aspect of what we do. This is the adventure that's got the most ethical ambiguities. This is the exercise that's given rise to the most legend and horror stories about recruiting. When I interviewed to come into this business 11 years ago, I remember it vividly. I was sitting in this interview, this first interview with this guy I wound up going to work for, just as dignified as I could be. I had on a blue suit and a dark tie. And in the first minute of the interview, he leaned across the desk and he said, "Does lying bother you?" And I said, "Yeah, why?" And he said, "Well, in this business, you have to lie to make placements." And I said, "Well, you better tell me about that." And he proceeded to tell me how you tell ruse stories to get names. And he made it sound very humorous and very digestible. And I figured, oh, well, I could probably do that. It's all for a higher purpose anyhow. And I went to work for him. And within a year, I was running his company. And when I would interview people, I would say, "Does lying bother you?" And I would only hire people that lying didn't bother. And then I would teach them how to tell ruse stories. Well, 2 years into my career in this business, it occurred to me, I'm not telling ruse stories. See, I'm uncomfortable telling those stories. I don't like it. And I'm getting lots and lots of names. Why am I training these other folks to tell ruse stories? So I started teaching people to get names the way that I got names. And I'm here to tell you, 10 years later, hundreds of recruiters later, thousands of placements, tens of millions of dollars in fees later, that recruiters who don't tell stories get more names than recruiters who do. And what do you think the secret is, the great mystery? What do you think the great mystery to getting names is? Huh? Asking for honesty. Honesty. Level with them. People know what you are, what you do, who you are, what you do. They know that. They will help you if you ask for their help. I'll tell you what they don't like. People don't like to be lied to. They don't like to be had. They don't like to be tricked. They don't like to be put on. Getting names is easy. Let's start with the level of least difficulty and move to the level of greatest difficulty. You want to talk to a person who has a title. Your job order says, want somebody who is currently a manager of tax accounting. Well, I can't imagine anything easier on this planet than getting through to somebody who has a title. If I call into a company, be it the Ford Motor Company or a four-man CPA firm, and I want to speak to anybody, the president or the dock supervisor, I will get through to them. It's a matter of tone of voice. Just put me through. And if somebody gets in my way, just get out of my way. It's tone of voice. It's confidence. I expect to be put through. I sound like I expect to be put through, and I will be put through almost all the time. Like you, almost all the time. You see, 1 out of 10 times, we are going to wind up on the phone with a secretary who's going to say, "Sorry, I need a name." You see, secretaries have been given seminars too about recruiters. They've been sent to seminars which in essence tell them that recruiters steal people. Have you ever heard that before? Recruiters steal people? I've heard it a lot. See, it's one of the reasons that recruiters often walk around with a pervasive, undefined sense of guilt, because they've heard that recruiters steal people. Well, I wake up every morning wondering if today's the day I'm finally going to see it happen. If today's the day I'm finally going to see a recruiter put a candidate in a bag and carry him out of a company. I have never seen it happen before. That's not what you do. You don't steal people. You call people up and read opportunities to them. Give them a choice. They can interview or they don't have to interview. You are there to do the best favor that one person can do for another. You're there to upgrade their lives, to improve their careers. When was the last time someone did something that nice for you? Feel great about why you're there. But all right, you're on the phone with this secretary. She says, "Sorry, I need a name." Don't fight with her. She's just doing her job. Call back in, ask for the mailroom, ask for customer service, ask for sales. Mailroom here. Yeah, I need the manager of tax accounting, please. Sorry, you got the mailroom, buddy. Do you have a directory there? Mailroom always has a directory. You have a directory there? Yeah, we do. Look it up for me. Who do I want to talk to? Be authoritative with the mailroom. Tell them what to do. They will look it up for you, give you the name, and then call back in. Or ask for customer service. Or ask for sales. Sales here. Yeah, I need the manager of tax accounting, please. Sorry, you got sales. Do you have a directory there? Sales always has a directory. Yeah, we have a directory. Would you look it up for me, please? Be nice to sales. Be nice to sales. Would you look it up for me, please? Sales will look it up for you, and while sales is looking it up, they will say, are you a recruiter? See, sales knows about recruiters. Yeah. And what do you say when sales says, are you a recruiter? Yes. Yes, I'm a recruiter. Be proud of it. Sales will think that's great. Sales will say, what do you have for me? See, sales always wants to know what a recruiter has for them, all the time. So now you get a name from sales and you call back in. All right, so now let's go to the next level of difficulty. You have a name, and she won't put you through. Does he know who you are? Well, I assume that everyone knows who I am, or ought to. Does he know who you are? Yes. Does he know why you're calling? Yes. Please have him call me back. You see, you recruiters who've been in the business for a long time know that everyone does know who you are, which is why you often have to change your name when you're calling in. Does he know who you are? Yes. Does he know why you're calling? Yes. Then I hang up. Now, I teach recruiting. I have just taught you to leave that message. If I get back to my office on Monday and that message is sitting on my desk from anybody, I'm going to return it, whether I know the person or not, because I think I ought to know the person. Likewise, whoever you leave that message for is going to return the call most of the time. Now, here's another message you can leave. I heard a message last week which is just the best ever. It's good news. It's good news. If a person has 50 messages sitting there and one of them says it's good news, which one is he going to return? Huh? And you are good news. You are good news. All right. Let's move on to the next level of difficulty. You want to talk to someone who shares a title with 20 people in a department. Now, this is tough. This is real tough. And this is where recruiters start telling those nutty stories. And you see that recruiter nervously sitting there for a half an hour beforehand concocting this weird stuff. And then she gets on the phone and she starts telling the secretary, well, you know, I was changing my tire last night and this guy ran over my foot and his wallet fell out the window and I can't read his name, but it looks like he just graduated from college in the last 3 years. You have anybody in your department like that? Would you give me some names? Maybe I'll recognize it. And of course the secretary says, recruiter? And she goes, hangs up and doesn't get any names. Stop telling those nutty stories. You don't need 20 names in a department. How many names do you need? One. That's all. Just one. See, a good recruiter will get one person on the phone, and that person will lead him to two more, and that person will lead him to two more. And pretty soon, you're going to be on the phone with the person who will start ranking the people, telling you who's good and who's not, who's looking and who's not, who you want to talk to and who you don't. And sure, every now and then, you're going to be on the phone, or you're going to get on the phone with the manager. And the manager's going to say, I don't want you taking my people. And what do? You tell them the same thing that you've been telling everybody else. You just be honest with them. I mean, you see, when you're being honest all the time, you have nothing to hide. You can just level with everybody. That's right. You tell them exactly who you're looking for and then say, by the way, do you have any needs that I can help you with? You either get a job order from the manager or recruit the manager. Just don't waste the call. Now the question becomes, how do you get the one name? Well, I told you this morning, no tricks, no quick fixes, just tactics and strategy. Tactics and strategy. In any department of 20 people, surely there's going to be somebody there before the receptionist gets there in the morning, so call in at 10 to 8. And whoever answers the phone at that company, say, would you please transfer me to the tax accounting department? And when you get through to there, start talking to whoever answers. Start making your presentation. Or call in at lunchtime. Or call in after hours. Or better still, as far as getting that one name is concerned. How about looking to the most obvious resource of all? You guys all specialize. You have thousands of people in your own files from your areas of specialty. Surely there is someone in your files from every department of 20 people that you want to break, someone in your files, or certainly someone from that company who may not be in the department, or certainly someone in your files who used to work at that company. Call them up and say, "Hi, this is Tony Byrne. I've worked with you before. This time I need a favor from you." The implication is clear. We've done a favor for you before. We'll do a favor for you again. This time I need a favor from you. Here's what I'm looking for, and I need one name in that department. Person doesn't have to be great. Person doesn't have to be looking. Person just has to be breathing. I just want to get into that department. Now, if that candidate wants you to do a favor for him in the future, he will certainly do a favor for you now. Start at your own files. It's the most obvious resource of all. Okay, so we've got a name now. His name is Charlie Jones. It is time to contact and profile Charlie. Now tell me if this sounds familiar. Hi, Charlie. This is intro. Hi, Charlie. My name is Tony Byrne. I'm a recruiter. I specialize in tax accounting. Charlie, I've got a problem. I want to help you out. Then we go to tell. Charlie, I've got an opening with a client company for a manager of tax accounting. They want someone to do this, this, and this, someone with a background like this, this, and this. Close. Charlie, the money is wide open for the right candidate. Who do you know who can do this job? Ever heard that before? Come on. Sure you have. Of course you have. That's boring. That is really boring. And we wonder why we have to speak to 100 candidates to get 2 or 3 of them to be willing to go out on interviews. That's not going to turn on the candidate that we want to get. You see, most of the candidates that we're going to talk to are busy. They're happy. They're not expecting our call. They're not paying attention while we're giving them these presentations. The only candidate we're going to turn on with that presentation is somebody who's been dying to hear from a recruiter. So that by the time we say, "I'm a recruiter," before we even describe the position, he says, "Yes, I'm your guy." But there are a lot of other candidates that we could get if our presentations were just interesting enough. Here's how you make a presentation. Hi, Charlie. Tony Byrne, recruiter. I specialize in tax accounting. Charlie, I have a problem. I hope you can help me out. Or let's back up. No. Charlie, Tony Byrne, recruiter, specialize in tax accounting. Charlie, I have an opportunity for someone to move up 2 pay grades in 1 year and then go from division to corporate the following year at a company that's in the headlines every week. It's gobbling up its competitors. It's doubled in size in the last 6 months. Now, if we're talking to the guy, to the fast-track guy, have we got his attention? Yes, we do. You see, if you're calling up tax accountants describing tax accountant title, duties, and money, you're going to be shooting past a lot of them. I mean, they're just not going to tune in. You're describing tax accountant title, duties, and money. They might be right for it, but they're just not paying attention. But you call up and start describing opportunity and companies, they're going to pay attention. Now, of course, the slug isn't going to pay attention to that fast-track opportunity. But, of course, then we could call up and say, Charlie, Tony Byrne, recruiter. Charlie, I have an opportunity for someone to sit at the same desk for the next 20 years. Person can die at the desk if they'd like to, at a company you've never heard of before. Never been in the headlines, been making a toy for the last 50 years. See, whatever the opportunity in the company is, we're going to lead with that. That's how you put together a presentation. Then you say, the position is manager of tax accounting. They want someone to do this, this, and this, someone with a background like this, this, and this. Money's wide open for the right candidate. Charlie, who do you know who can do this job? You lead with the opportunity. See, matching spec to spec, job order spec to candidate spec is the wrong way to make matches. The right way to make matches is to match opportunity to type. That's why you lead with the opportunity. So hopefully you're going to ring a bell with the right type, and then you match spec to spec. So we say, Charlie, who do you know who can do this job? Let's get names from Charlie first. And then, how about you, Charlie? Do you keep your eyes and ears open for a good opportunity? Let me close my door, says Charlie. We are now going to talk to Charlie about Charlie. And when we are profiling a candidate, we are looking for the right combination of 5 variables: education, experience, salary level, geographical location, and willingness to change jobs. Education, experience, salary level, geographical location, and willingness to change jobs. All 5 of them have to be in the right place. 4 of them are in the right place. Not enough. Now, no matter what your profiling form looks like, every profile should contain the following categories of information. Number 1, I'm going to fly through this because it's real basic. Number 1, background professional, in which we want to know current and former employers, titles, duties, dates, and former dollars. Second, we want to know background, educational, degrees, where from, what in, when graduated, GPA. Third, background, personal. Matter of fact, the first question you should ever ask when you get this candidate on the phone is, Charlie, what's your home number in case we get disconnected? Home number, home address, married, single, own, rent. If you are relocating, you need to know about spouse work, how much spouse make, how old are the kids, what part of the country do they come from, have they ever moved before, what's the housing market like in their area. You need a whole other dimension of information. Next, what is your current base salary exclusive of other earnings? What is your current base salary exclusive of other earnings? And what other earnings do you have? And here I do want you to feed them. I want you to feed them a little bit. Do you have overtime? Do you have profit sharing? Do you have bonus? You see, very often, a candidate will say, well, I earn $40,000 a year. You get him a $44,000 offer. And then he says, you know, I forgot to figure in this $6,000 of overtime that I earn every year, and now you have to go back and redo the offer. Well, the time to find out about that is now. And if Charlie is involved in a company-sponsored program, a company-matched salary saving, a 401k, ask him if he's vested. The wrong time to find out that he's not vested for 9 months in his company-matched salary savings is when the offer comes out. Charlie, when is your next review, and how much can it be worth? I can't tell you how much chaos that question causes when it's not asked. And it's such a simple question to ask. If our candidate is earning $40,000 and getting a review in 1 month, we're not going to present him at $40,000. We're going to present him as a candidate who will be earning $44,000 at the time of the offer. It'll make a difference in the amount of the offer. Now, recruiters. Most recruiters stop here. They've got education, experience, salary level, geographical location, and they say, bingo, I've got a good candidate. And they say, would you be interested in interviewing on this position? And the candidate says, yeah, I'd be interested in interviewing. That's the wrong question. That is the wrong question. You see, they've got a candidate who's qualified, who's interested in interviewing. That's why $100,000 billers wind up with a 9-to-1 send-out to placement ratio. It's not because 8 of the 9 are not qualified. It's because of the 8, many of them get to the second interview and drop out. And many of them get offers and don't take them. Why? Because they weren't motivated to change jobs in the first place. We know nothing about the 5th variable, which is willingness to change jobs, motivation to change jobs. So let's ask. On a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being most anxious to change positions, how anxious are you? On a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being most anxious to change positions, how anxious are you? And recruiters, what number do we want to work with? 1s, and 1s only. By definition, someone who accepts a position is a 1. 1s take offers, 2s take counteroffers. You know, I've heard every reason in the book why I'm going to work with this 2, or why this 3 is going to change his mind. I have a very persuasive employer. No. You want a low send-out to placement ratio? You work with ones. People who are ones right out of the gate. You see, the mistake that recruiters make is they find somebody who's got a great background who's a 2. And they say, well, I bet I'll be able to turn them around. And they spend 6 weeks going to the altar with a 2 just to have them turn it down, instead of spending one more day finding someone with the same background who's a 1. You make placements by working with ones. Now, the answer has 2 parts, not just the number. It's the number and an explanation. Because, you see, we want to make sure that the person has good reasons for wanting to make a change. The fact that a person says they want to change isn't enough. It has to be a 1 for good reasons. So the person says, I'm a 1. We say, why? Well, they're closing my facility down next week. Great answer. I'm a 1. Why? Well, they want to move my department to Idaho, and my family's here, and I don't want to go. Good answer. I'm a 1. Why? Well, the person sitting next to me just got a promotion I've been waiting for 3 years, and if I want to move up, I've got to move out. Good answer. I'm a 3, but I'm a 1 for the right opportunity. That's a great answer. We're selling opportunity. Person's content, but they'd move for a better opportunity. Great. I'm a 3, but I'm a 1 for the right money. Is that a good answer? Lousy answer. See, that person is telling us right now that he will take a counteroffer, and you must assume that all candidates are going to get counteroffers. See? Bad answer. I'm a 2. Why? Well, I really like it here. It's a shame that they're closing this place down next week, and they want to move us all to Idaho, and I really don't want to go. My family's here. Sounds like a 1 to me, but I'm going to keep talking to this person until he says he's a 1. I'm not going to impute 1. I'm going to get him to say 1. And remember, the person hasn't been sitting around all morning saying, what am I, a 1, 2, 3, 4, or a 5? You know, it may take him a couple of minutes to rank himself. So that when you say, what are you on a scale of 1 to 5, if that person comes leaping out of the phone and says, I'm a 1, I might be a little nervous about that, you know? And we say, why? And he says, well, because I love to interview. I interview at least one place every week. Where am I interviewing this week? That's not somebody I want to work with. No, that's a promiscuous one. I don't want to work with that person. I want to tell you another saying, which you should learn. $100,000 billers spend a lot of time trying to turn 2s into 1s. $500,000 billers spend a lot of time trying to turn 1s into 2s. Why would you go out on this interview? No, you got a great job. You're working for a terrific company. You're getting paid a lot of money. You don't want to go out on this interview, do you? Selling against, challenging, testing. Why do you think? Why do you think? Are they trying to blow their candidates away? Yes. Yes, they are. Why? They can't turn a 1 into a 2. All they can do is discover a 2 lurking underneath their 1. A 2 in 1's clothing. See, they don't want to be working with a 2. No, keep challenging, keep testing. Negative selling, negative selling. We want to work with 1s and 1s only. So, now, if the person is a 1, we have found out about education, experience, salary, geographical location, and willingness to change jobs. If all 5 of them are not in the right place, we are going to say, look, send me a resume. I'll keep you in mind for future openings. Once again, who do you know who can do this job? But let's say all 5 of them are in the right place. Bingo. We're going to move forward.